All right. Welcome to the first in the series of the Copilot Connects. The first Copilot we're going to connect with is my boss, our chief pilot, Tony. What's up, Tony?
Tony with a T.
How long you been flying?
35, 36 years. Since out of high school.
All corporate?
The first 7 years or so was just recreational flying and worked retail for a while. But my whole career has been corporate, private 91.
How'd you get into this?
When I was 5 years old, living in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, I used to overlook an airport just on top of the mountain. And ever since then, at the age of 5, I knew I wanted to be a pilot.
I love it. There's two island boys flying a Hawker jet at 34,000 feet. What was your first flight?
My first flight was in a Trauma Hawk out of Fort Lauderdale International Airport. I remember it like yesterday because my first instructor was a French, newly retired French fighter pilot. Just moved to the U.S. And so the language barrier was very tough. He kept on telling me NOS, and I don't know what NOS means as an island boy from St. Thomas and Grenada.
Even today, do you know what NOS meant?
North, right?
Oh.
I assume. I assume. But anyway, my experience, my very first flight, the Delta 767 was cleared for takeoff. But what the tower didn't know is that we were in front of the 767 out of Fort Lauderdale International Airport. And his words were, "We would love to, but we got a little guy in front of us that we're about to run over."
Aww.
And if you know a Tomahawk, they had a back window. I looked in the back of the window, and all I see was two black caps, nothing else. And that was the nose gear of the nose tires of that 767. So that was my first flight, very memorable. But I didn't last in Fort Lauderdale too long. I went to Fort Lauderdale Executive after that.
There's like internet pictures of little airplanes in front of big airplanes, and it's pretty funny to see those like on the internet. So you flew little airplanes?
Yep.
Like we all got our start on little airplanes. What is the coolest thing you've ever seen in the sky?
There was a time in my life I was making the Key West run at least every other weekend, back and forth. And when you make that run, you come through the middle of Florida. Air traffic control stated, "Hey, there's a rocket launch getting ready." Little did we know it was a space shuttle, one of the last runs for the space shuttle. And we were coming pretty much just before Orlando, to tell you how close we were. It was a beautiful day. I wouldn't say just like today because it's pretty cloudy, but it was a very clear day. And that rocket, that shuttle launched, and it was probably one of the coolest things that I ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it sat there on the ground, and you saw the plume.
Like the fire and all that?
Yeah, but once it got momentum, it was gone. It was gone. Funny story about that is the principal in the back came running up to the cockpit and was kind of freaking out because he thought it was going to hit us.
That close?
Yes. So that was probably the coolest thing that I've seen. In this career, I've seen many, many cool things, but that comes to mind first.
All right. What's your favorite airplane that you've ever flown?
My favorite airplane is a Twin Otter.
Yeah?
My airplane is a favorite Twin Otter. My top three airplanes is Twin Otter, the Hawker 800 series, which I just love, and a Baron. Baron 55, 58, all those series, just on my top three airplanes. But if I was to have like my favorite airplane that I loved, enjoyed flying, what gave me much joy was a Twin Otter when I was flying skydivers.
I was going to ask, when did you fly the Twin Otter?
Flew skydivers out of St. George, South Carolina in a Twin Otter.
And that's like a rite of passage for a lot of pilots is flying skydivers. I flew skydivers, he flew skydivers. There's thousands of pilots out there that flew skydivers. It's just
we flight instruct and we do skydiving.
Yeah, survey